He is considered one of the greatest commanders in history, and his wars and campaigns are studied in military schools all over the world. Napoleon's political and cultural legacy has endured as one of the most celebrated and controversial leaders in human history. Hello friends, in this video we're going to explore the military career of one of the most influential historical personalities who ever lived, going through topics such as his rise, his development as a military man and politician, his fall, and finally his death. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, a comment about the next personality you want to see here, and share this video so that it reaches more people. Without further ado, let's go. His family's origins were linked to Italy, as his father, Carlo Maria Bonaparte, and his mother, Maria Letizia Ramolino, were descendants of noble Italian families. This was because Corsica was part of Italy until 1768, which resulted in a strong Italian cultural influence on Corsican society. When he was 9 years old, he moved to France and studied at a religious school in Autun in January 1779. He later transferred to a military academy in Brienne-le-Château in May of the same year. He was a French nationalist from Corsica in his youth and supported the state's independence from France. Napoleon spoke Corsican, his mother tongue, and Italian, but started learning French at the age of 10. His accent and difficulties writing in French made him a target for bullying. He excelled in mathematics and showed an interest in history and geography. Initially, he considered being a writer, tackling subjects such as the history of Corsica and writing a romantic novel. In 1784, he entered the École Militaire in Paris, training to become an artillery officer. Due to financial problems following the death of his father, he completed the 2-year course in 1 year, becoming the first Corsican to graduate from the school. His final exam was conducted by Pierre-Simon Laplace, a famous scientist. Napoleon Bonaparte graduated in September 1785 as a second lieutenant in the artillery regiment. During the early years of the French Revolution, he fought in Corsica in a complex conflict involving monarchists, revolutionaries, and local nationalists. In July 1792, he was promoted to captain in the regular army, despite leading a revolt against the French troops. At the siege of Toulon, Napoleon devised a plan that led to the capture of the city, but he was wounded in the thigh during the attack. He was promoted to brigadier general when he was just 24 years old. His actions caught the attention of the Committee of Public Safety, which appointed him in charge of the artillery of the Army of Italy in France. During this period, he achieved notoriety in several military campaigns, including the Italian campaign, the Battle of the Pyramids in Egypt, and victories in the battles of Castiglione, Bassano, Arcole, and Rivoli. The victory at Rivoli in January 1797 weakened the Austrian position in Italy. Later, in Damascus, Syria, and Galilee, Napoleon led French forces in the conquest of coastal cities, including Arish, Gaza, Jaffa, and Haifa. The attack on Jaffa was marked by brutality, with the execution of many defenders and prisoners. The violence included robberies and murders for 3 days. On November 9, 1799, Napoleon assumed power as consul in an event known as the Coup of 18 Brumaire. His military and economic victories secured the support of the wealthiest groups, which gave him the legitimacy to become emperor. In 1804, a change in the constitution allowed the republic to be governed by an emperor, and Napoleon assumed the title of Emperor of the French. Napoleon wished to be crowned on the date of his accession to power, but faced challenges due to the church calendar and the constitution. He resolved the issue by crowning himself, although the ceremony sparked debate as it could be seen as akin to monarchy. On December 2, 1804, Napoleon and Josephine were crowned, provoking mixed reactions. Republicans were furious at their supposed quest for divine power, while Catholics were shocked at the manipulation of faith and the humiliation of the Pope. In 1804, the Napoleonic Civil Code was introduced, formalizing the changes of the French Revolution. With the new code, Napoleon obtained the backing of the middle class, the army, and farmers. The Civil Code established equity before the law, protected property rights, and validated the redistribution of land that had taken place during the French Revolution. It also confirmed the separation of church and state and abolished feudal privileges. consolidating his rule and becoming a dominant figure in French politics. During the consulate, he began an aggressive expansion against foreign adversaries, especially Great Britain, Russia, and Austria. During this period, Napoleon achieved extensive victories in Italian territory, coming to control almost the entire territory of the Italian peninsula. From 1806, the general established the Continental Blockade with the aim of weakening Great Britain. He also managed to subjugate the various German kingdoms, even ruling the Spanish state and attempting to invade the Kingdom of Portugal in 1812. On November 13, 1805, Napoleon invaded Vienna, the capital of Austria, anticipating a possible move by the British against his armies. On December 2, 1805, the battle that would crush the Russians and Austrians and give Napoleon hegemony on the continent for around 10 years took place at Austerlitz. The Battle of Trafalgar, which took place in October 1805, was one of the greatest naval battles in history. In it, the British squadron faced the French and Spanish squadrons near Cape Trafalgar in southern Spain during the Napoleonic Wars. This battle was part of the conflict between France and England and involved Napoleon Bonaparte's attempt to invade the British Isles in order to weaken England. The strategy of the battle involved French and Spanish ships lined up in order to increase the area of attack. The British Navy was victorious, inflicting great damage on Napoleon's forces. After the defeat at Trafalgar, Napoleon abandoned the idea of invading England and adopted the Continental Blockade as a tactic against the British. On November 21, 1806, Napoleon Bonaparte issued the Continental Blockade, a measure to force the nations under the rule of the French Empire to sever all trade connections with England. The aim of the authoritarian decree was to eliminate the economic supremacy of the British Empire. Russia disobeyed the Continental Blockade. Napoleon responded to this disobedience by invading Russia in 1812 with a powerful army. But the resistance of the Russian people and the harsh local winter eventually defeated the French general. The French army left Russia. Many French soldiers fell victim to the cold and hunger. The episode was a major defeat for France and strengthened England and its allies. In 1814, Napoleon was forced by his enemies to resign and was exiled to the island of Elba. On March 20, 1815, the so-called 100-day government took place, which began with his escape from exile and return to France and ended with his defeat at Waterloo. After escaping from prison on the island of Elba and regaining power, Napoleon faced the European powers gathered at the Congress of Vienna, who were redesigning Europe and establishing conditions for peace. One of the decisions taken was to restore the dynasties that predated the French Revolution and Napoleon's campaigns. Seeing Napoleon as a threat to these measures, the Congress leaders declared him an outlaw and formed a coalition against France. Napoleon tried to defeat the British at Waterloo, in present-day Belgium, despite being outnumbered by Prussian troops. The rain-soaked terrain complicated the battle, which lasted 15 hours and resulted in the defeat of the French. Napoleon was captured again, this time on the island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. In December 1815, Napoleon was transferred to Longwood House in St. Helena, a desolate, windy, and unhealthy place. There is speculation that he was poisoned by arsenic present in the wallpaper of the house. Napoleon often complained about the poor living conditions in letters to the governor and his custodian, Hudson Lowe, while his assistants suffered from ill health due to colds, catarrh, damp floors, and inadequate supplies. During his exile, Napoleon wrote a book about Julius Caesar, one of his heroes. He died on May 5, 1821, after making a confession to a priest. The official cause of his death was stomach cancer, a disease that also killed his father. His last words were, "France, the army, head of the army, Josephine." Napoleon Bonaparte was a figure of monumental importance in European history, marking the transition between the French Revolution and the modern era. His rise to power, military conquests, and legal codification, such as the Napoleonic Code, left a lasting legacy. He reshaped nations, inspired reforms, and reshaped the political map of Europe. Its fall, after the defeat at Waterloo, marked the end of the Napoleonic Wars and the restoration of monarchies, but its influence endures, shaping European politics and law to this day. And here we conclude our video on Napoleon Bonaparte. Once again, I ask you, if you liked it, leave a like, comment on what you thought, share this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Thank you for your wonderful attention, and until the next journey through history, bye.